Last weekend, Pastor Jim gave a subtle but serious challenge. He said that there is no evidence of any unchurched Christians in the Bible, and he challenged us to take a look for ourselves to prove him wrong. Well, I did, and he was right. So does that mean that to be a Christian, we need to go to church? Let's see what the Bible has to say. In the New Testament, the Apostle Paul wrote 2 letters to the church in Corinth. In the first letter, in chapter 14, he writes, "Well, my brothers and sisters, let's summarize. When you meet together, one will sing, another will teach, another will tell some special revelation God has given. But everything that is done must strengthen all of you." In other translations of the Bible, you find the last sentence of that passage, "Everything that is done must strengthen all of you," written as everything must be done so that the church is built up. And Paul is saying that the building up of the church was and still is important. In the Old Testament of the Bible, in a book known as Psalms, in the 84th chapter, it says, "A single day in your courts is better than 1,000 anywhere else. I would rather be a gatekeeper in the house of my God than live the good life in the homes of the wicked." So if the church is God's court here on earth, and one day there is better than thousands of days elsewhere, then shouldn't we make every possible effort to gather together as a body of Christ at church? In the book of Hebrews, found in the New Testament, in chapter 10, it says, "And let us not neglect our meeting together, as some people do, but encourage one another, especially now that the day of his return is drawing near." So to get the whole picture of what this verse is trying to say, I encourage you to read Hebrews 10:19 through 39 on your own. In this verse, Paul is making it very clear just how important it is to attend church, whether that be in person or online. The church is a place where people who call themselves Christ followers should come together. And Paul is making it clear that this isn't something we're simply to do from time to time, but rather he calls it a necessary practice. Now, today we are discussing attending church, but that isn't where it should stop. It's simply just the first step. To truly be a part of the church, you must be involved, living in community with the people that make up the body of the church, serving in and through that church, and investing in ways that show your support for that church and the community that it serves. So, if this is indeed a necessary practice, then what are we waiting for? Why do we only show up at church a few times a year? Or maybe just on the big holidays? For some people, it may be that they've been burned by someone or something in the church, so they've sworn it off completely. For others, it often comes down to what they choose to prioritize. Whatever the reason may be, we need to stop making excuses. I know that church looks a little different than it did back when Paul was teaching, or even 10 years ago, but that doesn't mean that the importance of it has diminished. With everything that is happening in the world, I would argue that the importance of attending church has only been amplified, so don't skip out. And I'd like to challenge you even further to not just simply attend, but to really get involved in the church. So let's strengthen the church together.